Hello and welcome to the penultimate session in the Inspiring Workplaces Summer Series. Thought I'd try and mix it up right at the end and not wear the cap. Just try to keep it fresh right until the end. We're really looking forward to today's session. We're going to go through a UK-based case study, one that was recognised by formerly the Employee Engagement Awards, but now the Inspiring Workplaces Awards. Sovereign Housing. They went through an acquisition, and there's a change program they went through. And to take us through this story is Jenni Cruickshank from McCann Synergy. And I'd please welcome Jenni. Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah,
fantastic. Great. So, like I said, without further ado, I'm just going to hand you over and take us through this inspiring story, the work you've done with Sovereign, and I'll be back later to have a chat.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. Hi, everyone. So just a bit of background about me. I'm Jenni. I work at McCann Synergy, still getting used to being called McCann Synergy. And I am an IC, employee engagement professional. I've been for about 10 years now. And I've worked in-house and in agencies, so I kind of get views from both sides of the fence. And I'm really excited to share this story with you today because it's a project that I personally worked on and I'm really proud of. And I know that the client is proud of too. So here we go. So you know that feeling that you get when you walk out of one room and then you go into another to do something and then you completely forgot why on earth you went into that room and what you're going to do. I certainly get that a lot. Even more so, I would say, now that I'm working from home, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. It's not something that's saying that you're going mad or anything. There's actually a psychological reason behind why that happens, and it's called the doorway effect. And this is something that our brain does when we switch from one room to another. It's our brain signals to our memory that we've changed spaces. So it needs to adjust our perception accordingly. And that's why just the simple act of going through a door can cause us to just completely forget what we were doing. And this got us thinking at McCann Synergy is, how does this translate to work and home life? Now, at home, I'm sure a lot of us, probably all of us now, in the wake of coronavirus, have gone through a digital transformation of sorts, except we don't call it that to our home and our friends and family at home. We don't go and say, right, well, stage one of our digital transformation is I'm going to introduce Alexa into the room. Well, at least I hope we don't. It's just become part of our lives. And we haven't just adapted to these changes, we've really embraced it because they make our lives easier, faster, smarter. So when we walk through that doorway of our home into our work, why does that change? Why do we lose our open-mindedness and forget that tech is an enabler for us? Well, in short, it's because we have a home brain and a work brain. That's the doorway effect in practice. So nice, depressing slide for everybody here, and I'm sure it's no surprise to people that have worked in the industry for some time or even new to it that most change efforts do fail, 70% in fact, according to McKinsey. And for 65% of these 70 that fail, change fatigue is a huge, huge factor, and boy have people got change fatigue right now. But the good news is that you are 30% more likely to succeed in your change program when your employees are actually invested in the goal and connected to it. So how do we achieve that? We need to create the right environment for change. 84% of businesses, according to SAP, say that digital transformation is crucial to their business. But 54% say they have a culture that doesn't embrace digital. Now, these are older statistics, and I'll be really interested to see how these update post-COVID-19. And now we've had the world's biggest working from home experiment. So today, let's talk about Sovereign. Now, they are a housing association, and they joined forces with Spectrum Housing back in 2016. They merged together to become the UK's largest housing association. And they've got some impressive stats that came along with that. So they suddenly had 56,000 houses, 130,000 residents, 1,600 new builds, all delivered and looked after by 1,800 employees. But more impressive than these stats and numbers that show how big they were was the fact that they were now able to deliver their purpose at scale, their purpose to look after residents. They wanted to create places to call home, to give people opportunities to return to work, and create a stronger sense of communities among residents. To do this, they decided they had to be a modern, connected business. To deliver on this strategy, sorry, my slides are a bit slow. They had to use digital as an enabler, much like I am on these slides, hopefully. So since the 2016 merger, Sovereign had these 3 pillars of their strategy to become a modern, connected business. And you'll see them here: going digital, bringing us all together, and everything at your fingertips. And under each of these pillars were lots of work streams with tons of stuff going on. It was cultural and technical. So you were looking at things like a new customer portal, a new CRM system, as well as new vision, values, and behaviors. So it really was a roots and branches transformation in that regard. Our brief was simple. We had to deliver this to the business and create energy and excitement around change, not just around the transformation, but about Sovereign's future as a business as well. To do this, we had to get under the skin of the business and speak to the people that this would really affect and it would really matter to. So from people who are working behind the scenes in the offices, to the tradesmen that are out in the field, people in the contact centres talking to customers and residents every day, and then the housing officers and people that are on the ground in people's homes and actually actively out in the community. We immersed ourselves in the day-to-day realities of people right across the business, understand their frustrations, their joys. And I can't emphasize enough, it's something that we really believe in at McCann Synergy, is the power of people. And the only way to unlock true change in your business is to really get under the skin of it and go out and spend time with your people and see their realities. So after all that immersive insight, we came back and thought about, how are we going to approach this? So we had 4 key principles for the change transformation communications. First, we had to hang everything off of a compelling narrative. This meant some clear, simple signposting. For Sovereign, this is on our way to a modern, connected business. Every time a colleague saw this on our way sign, it was a signifier that we were about to talk about transformation. We're about to talk about the future and your part that you can play in it. We had to use an authentic, honest tone of voice. So again, really simple, on our way to a modern, connected business. And a clear vision of the future. And this is the narrative in its entirety. And I'd just like to read the first excerpt to really demonstrate how that honest voice came through. Imagine a Sovereign where we're all better connected to our customers and to each other. A Sovereign where great customer experience is delivered all day, every day. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for a place like that, right? It was lovely, really, really inspiring place to open. The next principle was all around managers. As I'm sure a lot of you will know, managers are crucial in delivering any kind of communication, and especially in change. They were also a great source of on-the-ground feedback for everything we were creating. We had a quarterly managers action group set up, and we would test and trial different communications, toolkits, packs, anything that we created. We wanted to make sure that it was co-created from them. It had their input, it had their buy-in. It was going to be something they would use with their teams and they would find valuable. So really not just equipping them with the stuff to do the job, but involving them in creating the stuff and getting them to buy into the stuff and be proud of the stuff. And in fact, when we launched one of our key pieces, which I'll show you just some information on the workshops there, is the transformation toolkit. So when we launched our managers toolkit with them, we actually got line managers to present this to the senior leaders at their conference and show how the toolkit worked and do some of the activities around change with the senior leaders, and it went down a storm. This is just a snapshot of what was in there. And the toolkit wasn't just, here's the messages, off you go, share them. It was kind of an all-in-one communications upskilling manual, a little bit of change theory and things in there, just light touch to help people be more confident when they're talking about change and understand the importance of figuring out where their colleagues are on that change curve. There was a suite of activities that they could choose from, recognizing that not all teams are going to want to do all the activities. Some of them might want to do some really fun, engaging games, but others might want to write in a flip chart, and someone else might just want to have a chat. So we created a whole suite of activities in there for them. And then finally, it was that messaging resource, those strong key messages to keep coming back to align everyone to the change and signpost them as to what was happening next. Our third principle was all around sharing great stories. And there's some great stories around a housing association, as you can imagine. And the digital transformation has an impact on everyone's lives, from the people who work there right through to the residents, but it's all being impacted in different ways. And of course, it's a change program, so there's going to be some bumps along the way. And we wanted to create an environment where people felt it was okay to share those stories, to talk about it and talk about how they could improve and do better next time. So I have a video to share. It's called So Fast So Good, but the video tech isn't working right now. So what I'll do is I'll just give you, I'll mime it. I'll act the whole thing out. No, I definitely won't do that. I'll just give you an overview of what that is. And then the videos will be shared on the Inspiring Workplace website afterwards. So Fast So Good, what is it? It's Sovereign's version of Gogglebox. It's where we got colleagues from across the business, from tradesmen to senior leaders to people working in finance, all sat together on a sofa and just chatting about the change and how they feel. We got them to play some fun games and have some interactions. And then the sofa stars, as we called them, would promote the episodes on Workplace, their internal social network. And man, it has gone down a storm. We're now in the process of filming the 4th series, and that's being filmed remotely, so with Zoom calls and all the fun tech challenges that comes with, which I think not just goes to show how successful the show was and how people have really embraced that opportunity to talk about change and how it's affecting them and how to make things better, but also the fact that they're doing one of their biggest pieces of communication, and I'd say probably one of the more challenging ones to put together, in the middle of a pandemic, relying completely on digital and tech. I think it really goes to show how much they really have embraced change and become that modern connected business that they set out to be. I'm just going to skip through the next one so that the video doesn't play. There we go. Just a little snapshot here of results and feedback. I won't dwell too much on this, but we kept saying that we wanted to improve every time and listen to this manager's feedback. And we kept coming back to that manager's action group and saying, right, here's series 1. What did you like? What you didn't like? They said, well, people weren't as honest. People seemed to be a bit afraid to kind of have a grumble. So series 2, we were like, right, guys, grumble away. We want to hear it. We want to hear warts and all. And we made that improvement next time. And it wasn't an expensive project to produce either. It was around about $2.5K for a series, which is really good considering the impact that it had across the organisation and the great success it had in reaching everybody at all the different levels and really connecting with them. Then we've got our final principle, which is around role modelling change. So this is about everything that we do, everything that we communicate around digital transformation has to be digital. We have to use the latest channels. We have to embrace tech. We have to embrace technology. We have to be disruptive. We have to be brave and bring to life the positive impact that technology can have. So as well as integrating a workplace, which I'm sure lots of people know what that is, but just in case you don't, it's basically Facebook for Work by Facebook. We've got it in McCann Synergy. It's brilliant. So as well as adapting that and embracing it so much that it kind of rivaled the internet, really, we also created a VR experience. And again, I have a video that I can't show because it's all jerky and weird, but it will be on the website that you can have a look at. And what this was a VR experience that was filmed in a sovereign home. And what you would do is on your phone, you'd insert that into a branded Google Cardboard headset. I really am miming this one, I'm sorry. And as you look through, you can go through the house and look at different points in the house to see the improvements that technology will make for residents in their lives. Things like smart boilers, drone technology, monitoring security, all sorts of stuff like that. And we had some little bits of gamification in there as well. So those people who aren't out in the front lines, who aren't out in the communities and communicating with customers on a daily basis, to keep residents at the forefront of their minds, the reason why they're doing the digital transformation and why they want to become a modern connected business, they have something in their phones that they can have a look at and be connected to it straight away. Oh, I have actually got an image of it. I'll just go back to that. So yeah, this is the this is kind of both, actually. So we did one episode of So Far So Good. It was very Inception-like, where we got the sofa stars to actually try out the VR and guide each other through the experience. So do have a look at that video because it shows how both actually worked together. So this is all great, but how are we doing? How did it work? What was the measurement? Well, really pleased to say that there were some fantastic statistics that came out of this one. 92% of people said they understood the vision, 83% saw residents as customers, which was a really key one. It was a really fantastic piece of work that we got good connection with across the board. But as with everything, there's always stuff to do. So this is what is next. It's all about behavior, culture, and continuing to embrace the idea of working differently. We need to keep talking employees' language. We need to focus on how it's going to make their lives better, simpler, and faster, so they can then focus on the customer. It's all about digital being an enabler, not being afraid of it. Getting people to think that it's part of their lives in home and at work. So when they step through that door, they don't forget. They bring technology with them and they embrace transformation and change. Thank you very much for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed. I think Matt should be coming back if you guys have any questions.
There we go. Mic was muted. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that story. I suppose tech being the enabler, that's just obviously shot forward now, ahead of your time. Just around Gogglebox, I've got a few questions really. Great idea, love it. You know, I'm jealous. So far, so good. So far, so good. How do you get the interaction though? Like the first one's always the hardest. Like, you know, writing is like a blank piece of paper. Did you and obviously Gogglebox itself, for those who don't know what Gogglebox is, it's Joe Blogs on a sofa, watching TV and just as you do, commenting and people capture it. So it's how do you elicit conversations and reactions from the first? Do you have questions lined up or prompts for the first one or? Yes.
So I mean, there is no sovereign TV show for them to react to. Now, but there wasn't then. Exactly. So we had 4 episodes a series, and we had a very clear idea of what we wanted each episode to be themed on. Right. So, for example, the first one, we really wanted to talk about the narrative, that piece that I read out about imagine a sovereign where everyone feels connected. So what we would do is bring in those different prompts, as you said. We had the narrative printed out really big, and we just had the guys reading it out to each other and talking about it and how it made them feel, how they felt they were coming on that journey. And then as we moved through into series 2 and 3, we started to have other things we could show them, like the VR. And we also played games like, I don't know if people know what Heads Up is. You know, you put like a name of a celebrity or something on your head and you have to guess what it is. We had a really fun version of that where it's in the video that you'll see on the website, where the lady playing it just kept reading out what was on the card. And we were like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. But it made it really funny. And we got so much good B-roll and good chat. And to be honest, a lot of the real value came in just bringing people from completely different parts of the business together and just getting them to chat. It really was lovely.
Bringing the humanity back into the workplace. And this is the one, you know, cynic in me. It's only a small cynic these days, but series 2, we want you to be more honest, have a bit more of a grumble. How do you do that? Like, you need some incredibly brave people, brave souls to step up and maybe be the first grumbler. After that happens and they realise that the management and leadership won't mind, but how on earth do you get them to be honest in that way?
That's a really good challenge. And again, it was around finding the right prompts, but absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head there, Matt. It's about finding the right people. So we brought back I'd say our brightest stars from series 1, people that were really keen on coming back and really enjoyed the experience. So they came in not just to be that familiar face going through, but also to put the new people at ease. So, I've done this before. This is really great. So we kind of always knew the first series would be a little bit more stilted than the others. After getting them to open up, we actually had senior leaders say, like, it's okay, like this is fine, like we want to hear your feedback. We had one of the senior people in the communications team actually sort of sending out an email going, like, we want to hear it, warts and all. And on the day when they were chatting, I would just sort of nip in and go, that's great, but tell me how you really feel. Like, do you really feel that way? So I think
and was some of the was what was discussed acted upon?
Yes, 100%. It always was. And I think that was a really lovely thing to see, not just in So Far So Good, but also in the managers' action groups. So again, some of those people were also on the sofa. So they'd experienced firsthand, this isn't working, do it this way. Great, we'll do it this way. Oh, wow. If I say something and I put my hand up, something does actually change. So I think by word of mouth, that really became apparent and just part of the culture. Another thing is that regardless of the grumbles, Sovereign have got a really lovely purpose of social housing and social good. So the people that work there, their people are so passionate about that even if there is a grumble, there's always a lot of gratitude and joy and pride in what they do.
Yeah, no, I've gone to I've gone inside a similar business to Sovereign in the Northeast, and that purpose really shines through in the people that are working there, actually. Have you ever thought about getting senior leadership on the sofa, just out of interest?
Well, we did have senior leader in the first series. She hasn't been back. I don't know why that is. But yeah, we do want to have senior leaders. Ultimately, the idea was to get customers on the sofa, actually, so that they can talk about how the changes impacted them, because
that'd be amazing.
It is all about the customer. And we did throw around the idea of having more senior leaders on. But again, I think those are voices that we're used to hearing about change and transformation from. And, one thing that we really love at McCann's Energy is a bit of the old behavioral science. And that tells us that messengers are really important for change. So seeing somebody that you work with or that does the same job as you, or someone that you can relate to, is so much more powerful than hearing from somebody who's perhaps in a different role or higher up the chain. So we did think about it and we did dip our toe in, but actually found that having the everyman from the business was much better.
And I suppose what we're going through now, I say senior leadership, because what's happened is a lot of good leaders have stepped up right throughout the organisation, have become more authentic and more accessible. And therefore, people are relating to them more, which is exactly what your idea was, to actually relate to people they know. So actually, if you can make leaders more accessible, more show authenticity. I was just wondering whether you're actually going to be doing. I just think I love the idea. I think it's got so many different ways you can go down avenues. I'm guessing the next series will be from people's actual sofas.
Yes, so we're in the process of filming now. We've done Zoom calls, and we've got some of the regulars back as well, some newbies, which is really great.
Yeah.
Our designer, Will, he's brilliant. He's the one that goes in and films it and then edits everything together in just a brilliant way. He's been at home setting up a studio to film cups of tea and biscuits to get some nice tea. So it'll have that kind of rough and ready feel of like, yes, it's the situation that we're in now, but it will have some really nice stuff to just elevate it and make it feel, still get the care and attention that it's had over the years. And
just last question to follow up on what you said. Would you have employees and customers on the same sofa at any one point?
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate aim. Yes, Sovereign were on their way to becoming a modern connected business, but it was always all about residents and getting everyone in Sovereign to feel closer to residents, and that just feels like the natural progression of that. So if Sovereign are up for it, which we've had discussions about it over the last few series, then yeah, we'd definitely go for that.
Fantastic. Well, we know the tech didn't work at our end, but I really want to see this video now. It will be on the page. If you're watching us live, it will be on the page tomorrow. If you're watching on demand, go back after the video and check out the video. So thank you so much, Jenni. Thanks for sharing the story of Sovereign, and look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure, Matt. Really enjoyed it.
And thanks to everybody. Tomorrow is our last day. 5 weeks coming to an end. It's been an incredible experience. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, I'm sure. So thank you very much. See you tomorrow, where we've got a fantastic guest. All our guests have been fantastic. But Alex Allen from Cisco, talking us through an incredible, inspiring story. So see you then. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.